So I understand what people, from the richer people to the poor people, what they're thinking out there when they're doing their daily activities and what they're hoping for. And all of them are the same. They really are.
Yeah. Well, what I'm trying to get at is, a lot of people who were born in a such situation, and it is so difficult to break out that mold. This is easier to say now, but when you are surrounded people that you live with every day, none of them are successful. So, I mean, what gives you the courage to think differently? I mean, it's not easy.
Well, I guess my dad said something. He always says, and this may not sound real good, but it's really true. Show me a good loser, and I'll always show you a loser. Winning is important. It's one of the most important things in your life is to say, I can do that. I can do this. I'm as good as anybody else, and do it. And don't feel inferior. No matter what your color of your skin, be the best you can be. And I always believe that. I teach that in all the things I've done with kids.
Right.
Be the best. Don't settle for that. And you're going to fail a lot, but just stand back up and do it again.
Right.
Because, hey, what's life about but having fun? You got to have some fun doing this. You can't run around being mad all the time, because you can't. You're a human being and you're going to make mistakes.
Right.
But prosperity is in the eye of the beholder. Some people can inherit millions of dollars and be miserable, and somebody can live on $25,000 a year and be happy. And one thing is, I've always enjoyed happiness and doing things and learning things.
What is your definitions of happiness?
Happiness is the ability when you get up in the morning. I always say this thing: today is the first day of the rest of my life. I'm going to enjoy it.
So it's a decision.
Yeah.
You make the decision to be happy.
Yeah. If you're not happy,
so you don't put conditions on happiness. You decided to be happy, and this is a state of mind.
It is, and it is.
It sounds so simple. Is that really simple?
And it involves two things that are basics.
Right.
Your morality and your motivation. If you have those things, if you have some morals, you're a fellow man, and you're motivated to do something every day, you will accomplish something.
Right. When you talk about motivation, are you talking about a person having a purpose?
Every day. What am I going to do?
Yeah, so it's get meaning in life.
That's what everybody, your plumbers, all those people, they want to be the best plumber, the best welder, the best this. That's the motivation. I want to do this. I like it. I have fun doing this. Everybody has a different feel.
You have to enjoy what you do. I mean, you enjoy the process.
I tell the young people, if you're miserable working, go get something you're happy with.
Yeah. Talking about young people, I know that you really care for the younger generations. I mean, you were a baseball coach, and you got a team of 27 players follow you and being under your coaching. So I like to ask you about leadership. Okay, I mean, you are state representative, you are leaders. So for those young folks out there who wanted to be a leaders,
that's I think it's inherent, at least in my opinion, because when I've coached baseball and basketball stuff, but baseball basically, and I've won. Our team usually wins every time, and they'll say, "Well, how do you get this kid to play for you?" I tell him fundamentals because I know the game real well, and I say, "Go do it. Don't be afraid to be something. I'll show you a technique where you make you a better player." And they said, "When I tell him he's good, it's an amazing thing. Hey, you're good. That's good." Instead of saying, "Oh my gosh, you didn't do this right." Negative. Don't be negative.
Right. Yeah.
And they'll go crazy trying to be good because somebody they believed in, that you actually believe what you're telling. It wasn't just something to get them to play. And I say, you know what? You're going to have to do life like this. You're going to have people around you that you believe in.
Yeah. How do you get motivation? Is motivation something that could be given, could be...
Well, you have to earn their respect.
Inspired.
They have to believe that you're really sincere. Because I listened to people growing up that wasn't sincere, and I'd go, yeah, okay, and go do something else. But the two people I knew growing up that helped me, yeah, I listened to them.
Okay, so one quality of leadership is caring. You have to care about that.
Anything, even my staff, I have a firm and stuff, all the people. Today, I've been doing all my life, they know that I care about them.
Yeah.
I consider an employee is what I do affects their life.
Yeah. What do people say? They don't care what you know until they know that you care.
That's right. Most people, when you care about something, and when you get up and when they're sick, and you go over to ask them, "Can I help you to do something?" Not just, "Oh well, you're not working. I don't need you today." That's what I do. I've always done that. I believe I'll take my wife used to say, when we get a team and to be the little kid over there, the most motivated. And he said, "Well, I always knew that was your favorite," and he wasn't even the best player. I said, because he's the most motivated player. And you look in his eyes, and he's going to try to beat, and he winds up being the best player eventually. Right. Those are important things, and that's the whole reason. And I don't want to judge. I don't judge people about. I disagree with people, but I don't judge them. Because judgment means you think you're better than they are, and I don't think I'm better than anybody. I just think we can work together. We're all human beings.
Well, we talked about happiness earlier.
Yeah.
I guess one of the formula of happiness is the less judgmental that we are. I think the happier we would be, don't you think?
Yeah, I've said up at the Capitol, I said, you know what, 100 years from now, people are going to be more close together than I believe, and they're going to ask what was wrong with the people in my generation. Why were they not happy to being with you? And that's just an argument I had to myself.
Right.
Why would I want to go through and tell everybody, well, I'm better than you? Because I'm not.
Right.
I might be, my talents might be completely different than what you do, but you may be the guy that bends the weight of the new wheel. And so never know. Just don't judge people when they're young.
Yeah.
But youth is the most important thing in this country. We got to make our young people understand what they're living in.
Right. How do you think the world perceive an American? What is an American?
Well, the world different. I guess that'd be a leading question, depending on where you are in the world.
Yes.
They either they just can't stand us.
I'm not talking about our enemies. I'm talking about something. You know, when people think about American, they think about courage, they think about entrepreneurs, they think about adventurers.
I think the word, Danny, is America gives everybody a chance, would be the way I would put it. That's what this whole nation is based on, give you a chance. That's not true in other countries. They don't give you a chance. If you're not part of the echelon of the group, you don't get a chance.
Yes. It's very difficult to break in.
The best people we have came from, I always say, to teach the average and let the genius do their thing, because those average people, leave them alone and not restrict them, they'll probably be the ones that invent the best ideals of the future.
Yeah.
And I have been lucky enough to know people that have patents and stuff and all this stuff and invented things, and they said, well, I don't know, I just figured it out in my mind and did it, and all of a sudden I get something for it. Right. They wouldn't intend it. They just said, there's a problem, I solved it.
Yeah.
That's what people are.
Yes.
The Einsteins, he was a genius in things, but he was just kind of a little weaky guy, as I was told. Look what he did.
Yeah.
And he got a little thing called 2207 and all that stuff.
Right. So you have to allow room for that person to be creative in this space.
If you ever, there's over here in Lamar ISD.
Yeah.
It was an amazing story. They've already figured out how to way to make food out of water and fish, swimming in the water and fertilizing the plants, and they can make lettuce and stuff within 3 weeks or something.
Yeah.
And the teacher said, well, you know, technically we take 3 acres and feed a quarter or a fourth of Houston with that. It grows so fast. And I'm sitting there and I said, would you come to Austin and give that same thing and show this whole demonstration to some of our people? And that's what you have to do. Take good ideals and let them be the hero for a minute.
Right. I want to ask you one more question about leadership. Do you think a good leader was born or trained? Can leadership be taught? I'm talking about effective leadership.
Well, there's all kinds of people there's too much teaching, but you have to have certain fundamentals how to do this, and I think a lot of them are just. This sounds like an old broken record. Mostly, you just want to. You have to want to do this.
The desire, yes.
Yeah. You don't have leadership is the ability to take. Well, I'll put it away. The managing partner when I was with a national firm said, "Surround yourself with people smarter than you, and you'll be considered a genius." And that's what leadership is: how to get people to do what they do best and not interfere and say, just let them do their thing, and whatever the goal is, and you'll find people that really are smarter than you, but you're just managing them, managing their abilities. That's leadership.
Right, right. How does a young people know that he or she has the leadership quality?
They really don't know. They just do it. They find out and they make mistakes. And anybody that doesn't make a mistake hasn't done anything.
Right, right.
And
I remember they said the biggest mistake is no mistake at all.
yeah, that's
Something
right.
like that. Yeah.
I mean, I say that all the time. Well, don't be, just say, yep, I screwed that up, and I'm not going to ever do that again. That's the answer to that question.
So it's a learning trial and error process, and then you will discover your talent in the process.
And you have to be able, in the group, whatever leadership you're doing, you have to be able to laugh at yourself sometimes.
Wow.
So that all the people know that you're just like them. They give you the black bean, and you've got to get this thing done.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I think in my own personal life is I've been able to do that some, and because I had a great influence. And actually, it's my wife. I'll keep saying that. She was one heck of a person.
Yes, I know her personally, and
Okay.
very
She
sweet
was something.
lady. Yes, she is. Sorry. Yes.
So that's all leadership is. You
Yes,
can't.
yeah.
It's no book you can read that makes you a good leader.
Right, right. For those who are interested in knowing what does a state representative, I'm talking about a Texas House member,
Okay.
does, what are some typical duties of a
Well,
state representative?
First of all, when we're elected, well, I'll go back. I'm just going to relate to me because everybody has a little different.
Right.
I ran and won this thing, and then said, hope I can do what I think I could.
Yes.
That was what I wanted to do. But when I got there, I figured out one thing real quickly, that I was just as good as anybody else up there. But they had more experience in doing this project. But I said, I can do it. And then I said, what's my skills? What's my best things? And I mean, I'm not a doctor, so I didn't want to. I had to go with the doctors and say they get a bill, and I'll say, okay, tell me what this thing does.
Right.
And don't try to be the hero and know everything, because you don't. You know nothing if you know.
Right.
But what I've came up with is, I wanted to make sure my district in the state of Texas, when I leave, Texas is better than when I got there. That was my whole goal. It still is. I want to do that. I want to fix a couple of things that are really, I think, are just to the citizens of this state are very bad.
Yeah.
And they need to be fixed, and you can fix them easy. But it's tough to get it through the legislation because everybody disagrees. That's why you put 150 legislators up there and 31 senators and a governor, lieutenant governor and a governor, and you try to influence people. It's really that simple. You got to say, look, tell me how come this is a bad idea. That's how it starts on the drawing board. It's just like the guys. But then eventually you say, hey, that'll work and that'll work. And pretty soon you get what they call a bill, and then you hope. Then you got to go sell that bill to a majority of both things to do it. Right. And hopefully you get it done. And I can tell you two things in this state, and the folks here want to listen to that, is our property taxes for schools are astronomically, ridiculously high.
Right.
And I can fix that, but we can fix it together if we'll just figure it out and get all the pieces together, because in Texas our main income is from sales tax, from selling things, consumption tax. But only 41% of everything we consume has that tax on it. 59% does not have any tax, zero. And that's from the controller's report. It's over $43 billion a year. There's not a tax on it. I'd like to and the biggest single property tax is your school taxes.
Yeah.
Biggest. 50-some% of all your taxes you pay are that. I'd like to cherry pick about 24 or 25 billion of this and expand the base of the sales tax and put that into schools and get you keep your property tax money, which is about a 15 or 25 to 1 ratio.
Right, right.
And you'll enjoy that. If you want to take that savings and go Las Vegas, if you want to take your kid to school, or if you want to go to vouchers and all that stuff, it'll work. And unit cost goes way down. And coach, that's talking technical, but unit cost is what businesses are run on, and we don't do that very good in the government.
Right, right, right. Okay.
And that's my argument.
Yeah, it
and
makes
I'm going to
sense.
try to do that. I'm going to try to sell that. I'm working on it right now. And there's another one too that's real big, and it's.
How difficult is it to get a bill passed at a state legislative?
Well, let's say you have to author a bill, get the bill, and create it, and go through a legislative council make sure it's legally done.
Right.
They do that. The attorneys, we have a whole group of attorneys up there. and then you put it into the committee, or they put it in the hopper, and the speaker puts it in whatever committee that's going to hear it first. And you got to go sell that bill go into a hearing with there's 7 or 8 to 10, and of course in the Ways there's the biggest ones.
Well, let me ask you this: you said when you have to go sell that bill, do you generally go to sell that bill within your party?
No, well, I don't. I mean, a lot of them do, but I don't. I look at go to both sides, because let's see if it was. And we have you get friends up there, and you say, okay, look at this and see what would you do if it was your bill and you were handing it to me. That's one I always think that's a good idea. And you go talk to people, your other reps, both parties. Right. And then you go to the Senate side, which is a little harder to get.
There must be somebody on the floor that believe and share common interests with what you're trying to do.
But you get that with trust of each other. It really is. That's trust, how you do that. You sit there, you may disagree completely how you do that.
Principle, core values.
But you know,
so is it possible?
Yes,
it is possible that you're not compromising your principle.
Right.
But to work with the other side.
And I personally won't compromise basic principles. I don't think anybody should.
Right.
That's what's in the heart. And
so is that the core problem in Congress right now?
In federal Congress, it is.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you that to me the difference is in the House of Representatives in Texas, and the Senate too. We go into the meeting every time at 10 o'clock in the morning, and we do the prayer and stuff, and then we talk. And some of the people doing bills, we go around and talk to each other in the room.
Right.
Then we go to committees. But in the federal Congress, they hardly ever go on the floor together. They go to committees all the time, so you're talking about like this person is arguing about the Democrat. They're over arguing on the floor.
So they never get to know
each other.
There's
a lot more people. It's 435 to 150.
Yeah.
But
still, I mean, how could you work with each other without? Sometimes I know that we are conservative. We have our principle, but I think sometimes Americans, I mean, these people are your fellow Americans. There must be some common grounds. The fact that both parties, they place the safety, the security of our nations above the interests. So there must be some common ground, don't you think?
Yeah, we're Americans. And I didn't dream up all these things. Some of the stuff came up from other bills. I said, that might work. They did the same thing. And they each one of them are different in their own thinking. But if they think you're trying to con them, is the best way to say it, you won't get anything.
Yes.
But if you go in there and say, tell me why you wouldn't vote for this bill if we got it on the floor.
Right.
That's the big thing.
Right.
And I just believe that. And sometimes you're disappointed. And then you look at, sometimes I'm just passionate about a bill. And guess what? After I heard people say, this really isn't a good thing. Because it's what you do. That's why there's 150 representatives in Texas and 435 in the federal Congress and 100 senators in the federal and 31 in the Senate and a governor, and we have a president and all that stuff. So when it gets to the president, he gets to go yay or nay, the final decision maker, or the governor.
I have always been interested in listening to you. I mean, you have, I really enjoy your wisdom. And I think our time is up, but I want to thank you so much for your service, your dedication to the community, and I wish you a lot of health and to continue on to carry the people interests. That
I will do, but I want to thank you for inviting me.
Yes,
you're a friend too, buddy. All right?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time.